exceptions when acts of aggressions led to violence. For instance, Portuguese traders attempted to conquer the Bocajos Islands in 1535. See, they were supposed to be trading with these people. All of a sudden, they trying to take over one of their islands. See that? Which was followed in 1571 when Portugal, supported by the Kingdom of Congo, was able to capture the southwestern region of Angola in order to secure its threatened economic interest in the area. Although Congo later joined a coalition to force the Portuguese out in 1591, Portugal has secured a foothold on the continent that it would continue to occupy until the 20th century. All right. Let me read you this, because they're supposed to be trading with the African people. All of a sudden, they trying to take over the continent. And then that agreement that they went into with the Kingdom of Congo was more than likely to conquer these Jews, man. The Africans from the Congo probably said, "Nah, we ain't got nothing for you, but them the Kingdom of Judah right down the street. Why don't you go conquer them? We'll give you them instead of us." See what I'm saying? This is Psalms 55:20. It says this: "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words are softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." See what I'm saying? All that trade agreement stuff, just like when they came over here with the North American Indian. They made all them agreements. All right, but war was really in his heart. Okay? It says this: "Historians have widely debated the nature of the relationship between these African kingdoms and the European traders. Walter Rodney in 1972 has argued that it was an unequal relationship, with Africans being forced into a colonial trade with the more economically developed Europeans, exchanging raw materials and human resources, i.e. slaves." All right, because them Africans was coming in there and taking us as slaves for manufactured goods. He argued that it was this economic trade agreement dating back to the 16th century that led to Africa being undeveloped in its own time. Because them Europeans came in there and destroyed the place, man. These ideas were supported by other historians, including Ralph Austin in 1987. This idea of an unequal relationship was, however, contested by John Thornton way in 1998, who argued that the Atlantic slave trade was not nearly as critical to the African economy as these scholars believed, and that African manufacturing at his period was more than capable of handling competition from pre-industrial Europe. All right, we'll take a look at Africa today, and then take a look at Europe and America today. All right, so you tell me who didn't what did it say? You tell me who that led to Africa being undeveloped in its own time. All right, you tell me who it led to being underdeveloped. All right, let me read you this. This is Micah 2:1. "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands." See that the Africans didn't go to Europe conquering. All right, because it wasn't in the power of their hands. They didn't have the will, and they didn't have the technology to be doing all that type of stuff. All right, they had mainland technology that was wonderful, but they wasn't developing ships so they could go conquer other nations, man. All right, or go conquer Europeans. If they had them, they didn't use them. All right, they didn't use them like the Europeans. It says this: "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." See what I'm saying? They oppress that African heritage. All right, for them to develop, man. And we was living up in there too. So they was oppressing us from developing, man. All right. Real quick. All right. Proverbs 12:5. Let's go there. It says this: the thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the counsels of the wicked are deceit. See that? So you can expect that from these people, man. You have to be expecting this from these people, man. All right. Let's read. It says this as a caption note: this section relies largely or entirely upon a single source. Please help improve this article by introducing appropriate citations to additional sources. All right. So this basically came from one source, but we're going to see what it say and see if it match up with the truth. It says this: however, it was not just along the West African coast, but also in the Americas that Europeans began searching for commercial viability. European Christendom first became aware of the existence of the Americas after they were discovered by an expedition led by Christopher Columbus in 1492. Now, like I said, watch that movie 1492. At the very beginning, you don't have to watch the whole thing if you're not interested, but at the very beginning, all right, it was like his overstudy or his elder or something asked him. He said, how do you know that is land over there? And he named a couple books, and then he said Esdras. And his overstudy or the older professor said, but Ezra was a Jew. And he said, yes. And he said, there's a land over there. All right. Now, it says this. And they say he was a Jew like it was a bad thing, like he wasn't a credible source. All right. So that also proved to you that they wasn't Jews. All right. You can watch the movie and watch the clip for yourself, though. It says this: as in Africa, however, the indigenous peoples widely resisted European incursions into their territory during the first few centuries of contact, being somewhat effective in doing so. In the Caribbean, Spanish settlers were only able to secure control over the largest islands by allying themselves with certain Native American tribal groups in their conflicts with neighboring societies. Groups such as the Kulinago of the Lesser Antilles and the Carib of Arawak people of what is now Venezuela launched effective counterattacks against Spanish bases in the Caribbean with native-built boats, which were smaller and better suited to the seas around the islands, achieving success on a number of cases at defeating the Spanish ships. All right. So the people that was indigenous to North and South America, they had little boats and ships also, man. All right, because they was traveling back and forth between islands to one another. Now, let's go to the book Hosea real quick. This is Hosea 2:2. It says this: plead with your brother, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked and set her as in the day that she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. All right, this is telling the people of Judah to tell this to the people of Jerusalem. All right, or the people of not Jerusalem, the kingdom of Judah, to say this to the kingdom of Ephraim, the 10 tribes, the Native Americans and Latinos. It says this: and I will not have mercy upon her, for they be the children of whoredoms, for their mother have played the harlot. She that conceived them have done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and water, my wool and my flax, my oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy ways with horns, and I will make a wall. She shall not find her path.